to the Who Dat Nation. Welcome to the Dome Patrol podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints here on the KB Radio Network. I'm your host, Kevin Reed, and we have gone final in the Saints matchup versus the Houston Texans. And Houston, we have a problem. The New Orleans Saints fall to the Texans by the score of 20-13, bringing their record thus far this season to 3-3. Also, the Houston Texans share that record at 3-3. This is the sixth matchup between these teams, and to keep with the 3-3 formula, this series is 3-3. Out of the 6 games, both teams have won 3. In all matchups, the home team has won every single time they've matched up. So it's par for the course. It's time, people, to stop sugarcoating what's going on in the New Orleans Saints organization. This game was such a testament, such a glaring, blatant depiction of what the Saints have been going through the last 2 years. Complete ineptitude, undisciplined, bad decision-making, bad coaching decisions. To put it plainly, this is a bad football team. And look, I take no joy in saying this. I take zero joy in saying that the New Orleans Saints, the team that I love, the team that I grew up watching, the team that I don't care what I'm doing. Whenever they're playing, I'm stopping, I'm watching. I am all invested in this team. I have been since 1980 when I was when I was a little child. I've been watching this team. I bleed black and gold, and it gives me no joy to say this is a bad football team. Bad. And it shouldn't be. That's what makes it worse. You know, back in the 80s when we had the Dome Patrol, not the podcast, but the actual defense, that linebacking core that is stacked with Hall of Famers. And the offense was complete trash with Bobby Hebert and, Dalton Hilliard and Eric Martin and all that. It was a bad offense. And not because of those players per se, because I liked Dalton Hilliard. I liked Eric Martin. Well, when he went to Kansas City to be with Joe Montana, that was a different Eric Martin, which let you know that it wasn't him, it was the team. But anywho's, it was embarrassing to watch at times, but you knew this going in. You knew the limitations of the New Orleans Saints back in the Jim Mora era. You knew. It wasn't a shock. They was as good as advertised. The defense was great. The offense was left you wanting, and that's basically what you got. Now we fast forward to 2023, and we have a team stacked with talent from every skill position on both sides of the ball, and this is what you get. This is what you get: a lackluster performance after a game where you shut out a team 34-0. Yeah, you turn right around 1 week later, and all of a sudden you don't know how to move the ball. Well, that's a lie. They moved the ball today. They didn't know how to finish a drive. And there you have it. 13 measly points. That's why if you listen last week, I said it. Yes, I'm happy with the win, but I'm not ready to just jump around and yell out we're going to the Super Bowl and all this other stuff. I needed consistency, something that was lacking from this team. And guess what? This is what I was talking about. This is exactly what I was talking about. Night and day. You cannot get back to back good performances from this team. It's like it's seriously, bro. Seriously, but it's been a running joke in New Orleans for decades that the Saints are cursed. And you really look at this team and you can't help but to feel that way. Like, are they cursed, man? I mean, they cannot. You can't tell me this is the same team that went to Foxborough and did that to Bill Belichick. You can't tell me this is the same team. Now, like I said last week, the New England Patriots aren't a good team. They aren't. But to lay a goose egg on them, man, come on, man. That takes skill and talent. But this team, the Houston Texans, and I have a lot of respect for the Houston Texans. I have a lot of respect for D'Amico Ryans, the head coach over there. CJ Stroud, I have a lot of respect for. I like that team. I do. I think they're a young, scrappy team, and you could tell that today. But honestly, people, can you sit back and say what the Texans did today to beat you? Is kind of like what in the Tampa game. The Tampa game, I still don't know what Tampa did to beat the Saints. And I've been for the past 45 minutes trying to figure out what did the Houston Texans do to beat the Saints. They did nothing. They didn't even score in the second half. They got, a touchdown. They did kick a field goal, but they didn't do anything. They did nothing. And the New Orleans Saints did less than that. How you do less than nothing? The Saints will figure it out. They can figure that out. It was mind-boggling. This is frustrating on so many levels. I am tired. I am so done with Dennis Allen. I am so done with Pete Carmichael. I am done. Because nobody is going to make the necessary move to help this franchise. In at least this season. They may make that decision in the offseason, move on from Pete Carmichael, move on maybe even from Dennis Allen. I don't know. But as far as this season, and I know it's early. I know this is only the 6th week of the season, but I can see it's not going to get any better, people. There's no changes. There's no adjustments. They can't adjust in a game. So what makes you think they're going to adjust making a hard decision as far as their personnel on the sideline? They can't make a good decision on third down, how to convert a third down. So I know they're not going to make the decision, oh, you know what? This ain't working, Pete. We got to move on from you. No, man. This is, I'm done. I am so done with this franchise. The sad part about it, me going on this rant, I'm not even mad. Honest to God, I'm not even mad. I'm so numb to it. It was in the middle of the third quarter. I sat there, and I think it felt like I should have wrote that drive. I should have wrote that down with the rest of my notes, but I was just done. I didn't care. I stopped caring. But it was midway through the third quarter. I felt like the team just said, forget it. They just gave up, and it was a 1-possession game. When you given that type of body language, that type of vibe and energy, and it's a 1-possession game, that tells you everything you need to know about this team. Because the Saints were never out of this game. They never led in this game, but it was never out of reach. Never out of reach. But they gave up. They gave up. And there was no fire. There was no sense of urgency. There was no swag, nothing from this team that gave me hope that they would win. And in the middle of the third quarter, just like they gave the vibe and checked out, I did too. I was done. I texted my cousin. I said, I'm done. I give up. I'm done. I'm done. And I stopped. That was it. I didn't even care that they lost. It didn't even affect me. That's how I know it's over. This is over for me. Now, Saints can turn around and win 10 straight this season. Good for them. But it's not, I don't care. Honestly, my feelings are, for now on, I'm just going to talk about the game as a NFL football fan. I'm not going to do the show as a Saints fan, as a lover of this organization. Because right now, we're on a break. We're on a break. We haven't completely broken up, but we're on a break. You know, we're free to see other people. I'm not I'm just not in the mood for with the Saints. I'm not going through this season. I'm not going through what I went through last season. Last season was so depressing, so demoralizing. It was just soul crushing watching this team last season. And I see it happening again. And I utterly refuse to go through it again. You know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result every time. I'm not falling in that trap. That's done. I see it coming. I'm gonna go ahead on and bail out before it happens. Now, with all that being said, I'm still gonna watch the Saints. I still love my team. I'm still gonna cheer for them, but at the same time, I'm not hoping for no division win, division title, should I say. I'm not looking forward to a playoff push. Definitely not looking for a championship push. I'm just, whatever happens, happens. And that's how I'm going to treat it from now on. I got to protect my mental health. I got to protect my heart. So I can't allow Dennis Allen, Mickey Loomis, Pete Carmichael, Derek Carr, because he's on the list today too. I can't allow them to do this to me again. I'm not going to sit. Why would I stand in the middle of I-10 and wait for the bus to hit me? I'm not going to do it and not move out the way. I'm just going to stand there and wait for the bus to hit me. And I see it coming 10 miles up the road. But nah, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Well, let's go through this debacle of a game. Once again, the New Orleans Saints fall by a score of 20-13 to the Houston Texans this Sunday in Houston. The loss drops the Saints to 3-3 and improves the Texans to 3-3. The Saints trailed 17-10 at halftime and kept C.J. Stroud and the Texans offense out of the end zone the entire second half. But New Orleans couldn't finish drives. Rookie kicker, and he had his rookie day today. Blake Grupe missed a 29-yard attempt. That was his second miss of the day, which I gave him a pass on the first one because it was a 53-yarder? Whatever. But he missed 2 field goals today, and the Saints were stopped on 4th and 4 in the red zone in the fourth quarter. Just one of the times, or many times that they were in the red zones and came out empty-handed today. The Saints had a late drive to try to tie the score, but were stopped on a 4th down Houston interception. The Saints scored on a 34-yard touchdown from Derek Carr to Rashid Shaheed and 2 Blake Grupe field goals. Carr was 32 of 50 for 353 yards and a touchdown and 1 interception. Running back Alvin Kamara had 19 carries for 68 yards. And he also had 7 receptions for 36 yards. Shaheed, he had 2 receptions for 85 yards, and his 51-yard catch in the fourth quarter put the team in scoring position. And I don't think we got another yard after that catch. It was, yeah. Wide receiver Chris Olave had 7 catches for 96 yards, and Taysom Hill had 7 catches for 49 yards. He also had a run and a pass completion today. Defensively, we had linebacker Demario Davis and defensive end Carl Granderson had a sack apiece for the Saints, and linebacker Zach Braun, he had an interception today. That should be good. But on that same play, he fumbled it back to the Texans. And so that kind of negated that. The Saints shuffled his offensive line for the game with James Hurst getting the start at left tackle and Max Garcia at left guard. Now, it got messed up because Hurst left in the second quarter with an ankle injury and he was replaced by Trevor Penny, who got his lunch sheet today. I was wondering, me and my cousin was talking during the game and he was like, man, why Trevor Penny ain't playing? Is he hurt or something? And I was like, no, he ain't hurt. I don't think he's hurt. And then Hurst got injured, and then he came into the game. I'm like, oh, he got benched, and now I know why. Look, like I said, I'm done with the sugarcoating, so I'm just gonna come out and say it. Trevor Penning is a bust. He is a bust for the New Orleans Saints. That was a number one pick, wasted. I'm done. I'm done. Left tackle Ryan Ramczyk, he left the game late in the fourth quarter with a possible concussion, which forced right guard Cesar Ruiz to move to tackle, and rookie Nick Saveri entered the game at right guard. Now, the offensive line is struggling with everybody. So now everybody's hurt. Andrus Pete, he was already out. You had Hurst get hurt during the game. You had Ramczyk get hurt during the game. Now, mind you, this is a short week. They got to turn right around and play Thursday night. So 9 times out of 10, those guys aren't playing Thursday night. But we will wait and see on that. But who cares? It doesn't matter. It ain't like they were monumentally better with everybody playing on that offensive line. It really didn't make a difference who was on that offensive line. Let's be real. But one of the bigger bugaboos today was the penalties yet again. It's a problem. It's a serious problem. And that goes for discipline. And when you talk discipline, you go to coaching. And the Saints, as they were penalized 7 times today for 86 yards. The Texans were penalized 3 times. Now, you could argue it should have been penalized more. I saw a couple of plays in there. Refs kind of kept their hands in their pockets for the Texans. Not so much for the Saints, but that's not why we lost. So I refuse to go that route. Let's talk stats. Let's jump into the stats here of the game. Starting with the New Orleans Saints passing, Derek Carr, he was 33 of 50 for 353 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Late, he was sacked twice today. He had a quarterback rating of 83.2. CJ Stroud, he was 13 of 27 for 199 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. His first interception as a pro. So we broke that streak. I guess that's something to cheer for. He was also sacked twice today, something that hasn't happened in over 180 snaps, I believe, which was the NFL, not NFL, a team record for them. And so they broke that streak as well. He had a quarterback rating of 82.2. Running the ball, Alvin Kamara had 19 carries for 68 yards. Shadid had 2 carries for 18 yards. Derek Carr, he had 1 carry for 2 yards. Taysom Hill, he also had 1 carry for 2 yards. Kendrick Miller, 2 carries for -1 yard. What do I say? For the Houston Texans running, Devin Singletary, he had 12 carries for 58 yards. Damian Pierce, he had 13 carries for 34 yards. Xavier Hutchinson, he had 2 carries for 15 yards. Mike Boone had 1 carry for 11 yards. CJ Stroud, he carried the ball 3 times for 2 yards. Receiving, Saints leading receiver today was Chris Olave, 7 catches for 96 yards. Shadid had 2 catches for 85 yards and a touchdown. Taysom Hill, 7 catches for 49 yards. Mike Thomas, 5 catches for 45 yards. Alvin Kamara, 7 catches for 36 yards. Foster Moreau, 4 catches for 33 yards. Kendrick Miller, 1 catch for 13 yards. Over in Houston, their leading receiver today was Nico Collins, 4 catches for 80 yards. Dalton Schultz had 4 catches for 61 yards and a touchdown. Noah Brown, 2 catches for 37 yards. Brevin Jordan, 1 catch for 11 yards. Robert Woods, 1 catch for 6 yards and a touchdown. And Devin Singletary, 1 catch for 4 yards. Team stats. Now, looking at team stats, you would say the Saints won this game, but they didn't. They found a way not to win, despite the fact leading in almost every category in this rundown. Well, let's go through first downs. Saints had 24 first downs today, 13 by passing, 9 by rushing, and 2 by penalty. The Houston Texans had 19 first downs today, 9 by passing, 7 by rushes, and 3 by penalty. Third down efficiency, 6 for 15 for the New Orleans Saints, whereas the Houston Texans were 4 for 11 today. On fourth down, Saints went for it twice and did not get it. Houston never went for it on fourth. Total plays, this is so lopsided and embarrassing. It makes me want to throw up, honestly. Total plays ran. Saints had 78 total plays ran to Houston Texans 60. How is that possible? You can only muster up 13 points. Total yards, another one that got me throwing up in my mouth. Saints total yardage today, 430 yards to the Houston Texans, 297. Total drives, Saints had 10 total drives to Houston's 12. They had 2 more drives than the Saints, yet had less plays. I don't it don't make sense to me either. Passing yardage, Saints had 341 passing yards to Houston's 177. Rushing, Saints had 89 yards rushing to the Houston Texans 120. Red zone numbers. This is where you look at. This is the number you look at and you're like, my God, no wonder we lost. In the red zone, Saints were in the red zone 3 times and converted 0. 3 red zone trips. No points to account for. Nothing. Not a point. You know what I see with that? You had a maximum 21 points and a minimum 9 with those trips into the red zone. Let's go with the minimum. I'm not going to go as far as the max. Let's just go with the minimum. 3 field goals. That's 9 points. You lost by 7. I mean, you tell me, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. All right, for the Houston Texans, I mean, they weren't super better as well. I mean, they were 2 for 4. But, I mean, come on, man. It's another bad category for the Saints. This has been a broken record, it seems like, every week when it comes to talking about this team. Penalties. Saints had 7 penalties for 83 yards to Houston Texans 3 penalties for 29 yards. That is unacceptable. That is so bad, man. These penalties, I mean, drive killers and breath of life for other drives. You know, when it comes to the opponent, they come at the worst time possible. It's like it's on purpose sometimes. I'm like, man, come on. Why? This is bonehead, stupid bonehead penalties. I don't get it. Saints had 2 turnovers. Houston had 1. Now, one of the Saints turnovers happened during the Houston Texans turnover. I mean, you can't make this up. Time of possession. Saints won time of possession today. They had the ball for 31 minutes and 33 seconds to the Houston Texans, 28 minutes and 27 seconds. I don't know what to say about this team. I honestly don't know what to say about the New Orleans Saints in 2023. This is a embarrassment of a team. It is truly an embarrassment of an organization. Anywho's, let's go through the segment which I like to call "Who Gets the Game Ball and Who Gets to Sit in the Corner." Well, this is going to be a short segment because nobody gets a game ball today. Uh, nobody. But I can tell you who sits in the corner. All 53. Everybody sits in the corner. Everybody. Nobody looked like they wanted to play today. Honest to God, none of them. Even the defense. And the defense didn't play hard. Defense held this team and they shut them down in the second half. I think they only gave up 3 points in the second half. Unfortunately, so did the Houston Texans defense in the second half. So it was, but in the Saints offense case, they moved the ball. They were moving the ball all game, and couldn't finish a drive. They couldn't finish, but this was just horrible. Who sits in the corner? Since the corner is small and I can't fit all 93 people in that corner, I'm just going to go to the leader of this ship, the captain of this ship, Dennis Allen. He sits in the corner. He's the reason this team is the way it is. I mean, this is his team. This is no longer Sean Payton's team. That excuse is gone. These are his guys, his quarterback, his offensive coordinator, his defensive coordinator, his players, his coaching style. All this is him. And so there you have it. Yes, sir. Go sit in the corner, Dennis. Dennis the Menace. That's his new name now because he's a menace to me. He's a menace. He's a menace on my mental health. But let's go through the grades so we can get up out of here and put this baby to bed. Lord have mercy. The grades. In case you don't know how the grades work, we grade every unit of the New Orleans Saints performance this week. Offense, defense, special teams, coaching, average it out to come up with an overall grade for the Saints performance against the Houston Texans today. Let's start with the offense, shall we? Starting with the offense gets a letter grade of a D. Moved the ball fairly well between the 20s, but they got allergic to the red zone. Got allergic, couldn't score, couldn't punch it in, couldn't convert when they needed to convert. You know, it was just bonehead decisions, because that goes to coaching, and we'll touch in on that in a couple of seconds. But the offense today gets a D. Derek Carr missing throws. We put a lot on Pete Carmichael, but a lot of that goes on Derek Carr as well. Derek Carr, he does know he has the authority or the power to audible out of a play, to check out of a stupid play that Carmichael sends in. He do know he could do that, right? Because he does it. And then today, I heard him check out of a play into a disastrous play. Just a bonehead. Why did you check out of that? They were blitzing on one play. I think it was third and four, I believe. They're blitzing, and they're telling you they're blitzing. The ball, that tells you the ball got to come out hot. Not Derek Carr. He just sits back there and wait for him to come. And sure enough, they can't. Gets a D today. Speaking of the D defense, today they get a C plus. And what got them a C plus today, which is spoiler alert, is the only unit that gets a passing grade today, even though it was low. They get it because they did shut this team down in the second half. And you want me to be honest with you, they did what they were supposed to do. They held this team to 20 points, man. I mean, what more do you want? They gave them the opportunities. The only drive that was just busted was that interception. Because when Zach Brown intercepted the ball and he fumbled it, they turned that into 7 points. That was the only 7 points scored by Houston. Other than that, Houston did absolutely nothing. They were kicking field goals. So I think that no, they scored one other time, touchdown wise. They scored one other time, but it's still a non-factor. That was in the first half. And so I did like the defense in that goal line stand late in the game when Houston could have just put this game to bed. They gave the Saints another chance. They gave the offense another opportunity to get back in this game. Unfortunately, the offense didn't hold up their end of the bargain. And so Saints defense today gets a C plus. Special teams gets a D. Poor little Tink Tink, little Blake Groupie. He he missed those two field goals. I excused the first one because it was 50 plus. You know, I kind of got a curve when it comes to 50 plus yard field goals. That's not easy. It's not easy. But when you miss a chip shot, and I mean, as soon as it left your foot, we knew it wasn't going in. And it's like, oh my God, man, how did you miss this? This was a layup. And the less we say about this punter, I once again, another stupid decision by Dennis Allen. I think they fell in love with the story of Headley. And they fell in love with the story. The dude 30 years old, coming from Australia, you know, he covered in tats and all this other good stuff, you know, living his dream, and he finally got it at 30 years old. Yeah, okay, good story. I care less about your story. I need you to contribute to this team, and he is not. Those punts are horrible looking, and they're not flipping field position with this dude. And I don't know, man. It's bonehead decisions. And special teams gets a D. Coaching gets a D minus. This coaching, going back to the discipline, the penalties, you know, not having a sense of urgency with this team, you know, late in the game when we needed a touchdown. We needed a touchdown. We didn't need a field goal. I can see if you needed a field goal and you kind of running the clock so they don't get another opportunity to kick a field goal to win it or something like that. No, you needed to punch the ball in. Mind you, they had timeouts. They had two timeouts, and they let the clock run and run. I'm looking at this. I'm like, what is going on? Oh, you gonna hurry up? Y'all need to score. Anyway, coaching gets a D minus. Overall, after we average out these four units, the New Orleans Saints today as a unit gets a D plus. This was a bad performance from this team on, I guess you could say, every single unit. Nobody can hold their heads up. Maybe the defense, you know, but even they had bouts of stupidity, you know, stupid penalties. A lot of those penalties today were on the defensive side of the ball. So it was just a poo show, to say the least. But in any event, just to remind everybody, the New Orleans Saints lose today to the Houston Texans by the score of 20-13. Saints are now 3-3 and have a very short week before their next game, because this Thursday night on Prime Video, the New Orleans Saints will take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. At least it's at home. Does that change anything? No. It doesn't change a thing. But you know, it's gonna be a short week. There's a lot to correct here, and there's not enough time to correct it. Honestly, if they didn't play until Thanksgiving, they couldn't correct all the problems that they have right now. It's bad. This is bad. And I didn't listen to Dennis Allen's press conference because I didn't want to get upset. Like I said, I'm not upset right now. I'm numb. But I know listening to his voice, listen to him give these lame excuses would just send me over the edge. So I'm gonna refrain. from listening to his post game press conference today. Maybe tomorrow I'll listen to it, but yeah, man, this is bad. Saints are 3-3. They're still third in the division. We got Atlanta lost today, which was a good opportunity for us to take the number 2 spot. The Tampa is currently playing the Detroit Lions. I think Detroit will win that game. I don't know. At least at the time of this recording, it's 3-0 in the second quarter. So it's been kind of a struggle for Detroit, and so we'll see. At this point, it don't even matter. Carolina lost again after they jumped on. I was actually shocked during that game because they jumped on the my God, Miami Dolphins. It was 14-0. I was like, whoa. Carolina, they tired of losing, I see. Next thing I know, it was like 35-14 or something. I forgot what the score was. But yeah, they woke up and realized what they were. And I think the end score was 32-21. It was 42-21. And they Miami remembered who they were, and more importantly, Carolina remembered who they were as well. And so, yeah, there we have it. That is week 6 in a nutshell. Saints are in some big trouble. They're in big trouble moving forward. And so we'll see. Can they bounce back this Thursday? Maybe. We'll see. We'll talk about it then. Like I said, it's a short week, so you'll be hearing from me sooner than later as we preview the Saints versus the how about to say Colts? That's the week after, but Jacksonville Jaguars. So, what do you think? Let me get out of here. What do you think about this game? Are you in the dumps right now? Do you think the Saints can turn this around? Are you more optimistic than I am, or do you think that it's time to cut bait with this with this coaching staff? You've seen enough. I've seen enough. Be honest with you, but I would like to know what you think. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also look me up on all social media platforms. Just look up the KB Radio Network. Also, look up the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube. Subscribe and like this video, please. Also, don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the Dome Patrol here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this recap of this debacle in Houston, as once again the Saints fall to the Texans by the score of 20-13, bringing their record through 6 weeks at dead even 500, 3-3. See you on Thursday when the Saints host Jacksonville. Until then, even though I'm kind of numb to the situation, that I'm kind of I don't know how to describe this feeling, to be honest. I don't know how to describe it. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it I don't know. I don't know what this is. But I'm not mad. It's weird, man. But I'm mad. Well, I'm upset. But I'm not mad. I'm just like, whatever. I never felt like this before. I'm used to getting mad and throwing stuff when we lose. But I'm not there today. I'm like, it is what it is. But I'm a Saints fan. I love the Who Dat Nation. I am a part of the Who Dat Nation. I bleed black and gold. That's why I'm still going to be screaming, Who Dat?